Welcome back to Riding Bikes in San Diego. We are in Mission Valley today, and I'm really wondering why there needs to be street parking in Mission Valley. Fun fact for those just joining us, there's no bike path through Mission Valley, at least not through the commercial areas of Mission Valley. That is, if you intended to ride your bicycle to buy something, to go to one of the malls, to go to one of the shopping centers, it's very difficult to bike there. I mean, it's easy enough to pedal on a road, but there's no infrastructure for it, as you can see here. I chose to be on Camino del Rio north here because it's less trafficked than Camino del Reina, which is north, but whatever. We're going to take a turn here on Mission Center Road, and that's going to bring us to Camino del Rio south. I don't know why a bike lane starts up here. I don't know what bike lane goes to this bike lane. That's only half true. Mission Center Road does have a little bit of paint on it, but Camino de la Reina has nothing. So, yeah, I don't know what to do there. I have this little shoulder to ride in, and I mean, really, there's no infrastructure crossing over the 8 at all here. So, and if we call this infrastructure, I think that's a complete misnomer. There is the protected sidewalk, which I think is interesting. Part of me wonders why that barrier can't just move out. Now, I know some folks are going to freak out that I am crossing this red light. Oh, man. These cyclists, I'm a menace to society. I'm crossing that light there because everybody had the red light. And it was the safest way for me to get through. Okay? So one of the things that I've been battling with in the comments often is people see a cyclist roll a red light or a stop sign, and they're like, well, you're just as bad as any driver. You're a hypocrite, blah, blah, blah. And, I understand that argument, even though it's a false equivocation. It's a broad generalization. It rests on the idea that a car and a bicycle are the same. And I suppose they are, basically, in that we get on them or in them and they help us get somewhere more easily than walking. But that's pretty much where it ends. There's physics involved. There's safety to consider and other things. And design, as I said in a previous video. I'm going to make this turn here and get on to Camino del Rio South. And, I mean, I'd like to shop. I'd like to stop at some of these places and make it more hospitable. I'd love to get down here with my kid to go to the movie theater because there's, coming soon, there's no movie theater in the uptown or mid-city area. The movie theaters are all down here in Mission Valley. But this is really what I want to talk about today, 3.5 minutes into the video. I'm riding in a bike lane right now, but this feels like I'm riding in a buffer. You see all these cars parked on the street, all these drivers, all this parking? I don't know why it's here. I don't know why parking is here when beyond the sidewalk and the grass, there are giant parking lots. The parking lots are huge. The parking lots take up more space than the buildings that are down here. Not only that, but behind some of these buildings, there is additional parking encroaching on the hill. So I don't understand why a bunch of these businesses that have ample parking also get this public parking down here, especially when there's no real bike infrastructure and it's pretty hostile for people riding bikes to be down here. But why does this parking need to exist? I mean, there are all these parking lots. The amount of space that we devote to parking lots in this country, I'm not even talking about San Diego, just in the United States, is kind of absurd. I mean, it's really wild. It's something like 8 parking spaces for every car in the United States. And that seems wrong. It seems just like a fundamental misuse of the space we have. And there is a lot of space. So I'm talking about getting rid of a few of these parking spots down here to make this road safer, because every single business has their own dedicated parking, and I feel like that's a no-brainer. And also, I do want to point out, it's very difficult to ride on this road without remembering that somebody was killed on this road. And we're going to be coming up on that ghost bike for Matt Keenan very soon. And I've mentioned this in other videos in the past, but it's worth repeating. There's not safe bike infrastructure down here. Paint is not protection. I'm riding in this little painted strip right now. And once upon a time, a couple of years ago, a driver was going in the same direction I am, and they went over the double yellow line. They went over the white line, and they killed Matt Keenan, who was riding his bicycle to go see a movie. There's our ghost bike right there. There's Matt's memorial. Had there been a physical barrier, maybe Matt would be alive. Maybe his son would have a father, and his wife wouldn't be a widow. But we have parking down here. And we have politicians who don't have the will to make it safer. I'm going to slowly go up this hill. And I'm not going to talk all the way through it. Turns out I fixed the problem, so I can make things go a little faster now. So we'll go a little faster now. We'll continue up this hill. And this takes us to a pretty decent bike lane if it weren't on a gigantic climb. But some people actually really like this climb. It's good exercise. It's a good challenge. On an e-bike, it's really hardly anything at all. And I've done this before on an e-bike, carrying stuff from the big box store. I do wish that these flex posts were hard barriers. I wish that there was really no chance of a driver dipping over and clipping me in here. But this is what we have. Flex posts are better than nothing at all. I do wish they were bollards. Could you imagine if each one of these things would actually stop a car? That would be wild. But they're more expensive, and the city has decided to put a price on the lives of cyclists, and we see that in various settlements that get made, and in the planning priorities and budget priorities that the city puts out every year. Here's the thing. This lane is here. Presumably, infrastructure should lead to it, right? And as I pointed out, there's really no infrastructure going over the 8. So to get from this bike lane or from someplace else to this bike lane is a very difficult thing. I feel like if we take some of the parking out of Mission Valley, on the street especially, because again, parking lots galore, we can solve these problems. Let's get some street parking out of Mission Valley, where it's obviously not needed, and make it safer for all of us to drive less and ride a bike. Thanks.